Want to do your celebrations?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So happy Monday. And let's start with celebrations. And if you do not know, Sarah is going to be leading us through a topic that we was it last week that we touched on this a little bit? Awesome. But yes, I feel like there's definitely celebrations out there. So who would like to share?
I can. I'm excited that I added my sister to my team. So, oh, geez, I'm excited for that. And then just recommitting myself for nutrition and trying to really lock it in again.
Yay, Amy. And it's so fun to have you here.
Thanks. My husband's gone and my kids are asleep. So here I am.
Heyo.
We'll be right over, Amy.
Who else has anything fun to share?
I have two. One, I along with Amy, we signed up for the Diet Bet with Joel. So it's time to get it together. And I officially start my new job on Wednesday. So
What are you doing?
yes. I will be an assistant secretary at an elementary school in town.
Very cool. Congrats.
Thank you.
Good job, Erin. And I think it's a really cool story because Erin is going to help. I think it's going to be so cool to see how her family becomes a big team instead of you doing so much for everyone as it relates to everyone, pitching in and having your time to make a difference beyond the household too. I don't know if that made sense, but I'm proud of you. Okay, I'll share some. Thank you to Barb and Erin and Amanda and her sisters that joined us at the Super Saturday in Chicago. That was super fun. And Lacey brought all the woo-boos and high energy. And I feel like you could tell she was like a new super trainer that was going to be available to hang out with us all day long almost. She was like, and now we're going to do the soul train. And we lined up. Kelly, you would have loved it. And everyone like did a dance move down the middle. It was super fun. But it definitely inspired me to understand more about the body blocks and take part in that after sure thing. So that was really fun. But thank you guys for joining me. And in those moments, it's so fun to see my team stand up and be proud of their teams and the impact that they're making and all that good stuff. So that was awesome. And this Wednesday, I launched my first session of my 6 weeks of Time to Shine. And I'm super excited for that. And I can't believe it's happening. So anyway, a lot of all these extra things and new things I'm doing are genuinely because of saying yes to being a part of this community years ago. I really would just be doing what I was always doing. And I thought that was great, but I didn't know how much greatness was out there. And this community and you all have really opened my eyes that way. So I'm super pumped and proud. Thank you.
I shared in the thread, but I'm really excited. I got my summit plane tickets. I got my husband's summit plane tickets. My coach PC, she's a PC right now, but she might coach. I just have this feeling. She was a Super Saturday with me. She got her plane tickets because she'd already bought her summit ticket, and her best friend who bought a summit ticket is now unfortunately unable to go because of a family wedding that got scheduled the same weekend. And so she's out. It's not transferable. So I was really concerned that she was going to back out because her friend isn't going, but I think going to Super Saturday really like locked in for her, like, okay, I can do this. This is cool. This isn't weird. These events aren't weird. They're not like trying to get me to sell things or anything like that. She was like, I think she really, enjoyed our community of women. And I think we maybe had 2 or 3 guys there, mostly women. And I'm really excited because I don't think, other than being in Indianapolis when it was local for us, I haven't had anybody go to Summit with me before. So this is going to be great.
Okay, for those of you that have not bought a ticket, Allison, Jill, Amy, have you yet? Okay. It's in San Antonio
Let's go.
in June.
I know I want to go, but like the tickets for the plane are like $500. I'm like, ooh, don't know.
It'll fluctuate.
I think so. I'll just keep checking, but I should since it's is it still on sale again, or was that just like for? What was it?
I don't
I just
even
saw
know.
a thing that it was like 179 or something instead.
Jennifer,
Yeah, it's like-
Jennifer, come on down.
It was as of this weekend. I don't know when the promo ends, but
Okay.
I
I'll have to check
think
it
they
out.
wouldn't. Yeah. The tickets are very reasonable. So if you think about going to like a 3 or 4 day conference, it would be more than your plane ticket. I mean, I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
trying to make you spend money that you don't have, but 170. So when you think about the ticket being so low, I think it kind of balances out because
Yeah.
you're going to come away with so much. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
you know.
And I loved it last year, so I'll be really
Yeah.
sad if I don't go.
San Antone to the bone. Let's start that hashtag.
Yes. And Jill and Allison, it's like, and Jennifer, it's like fall national meeting, but like on the best positive steroids ever from a Target comparison. I'm not kidding. It's so fun. And my husband's coming, which I hope he hasn't forgotten.
The one in Florida was fun, the small one that we during COVID.
Yeah. What did you say?
The one in Florida, the small one, that was fun.
Mm-hmm. And Kelly, like, will you share your perspective as like a coach that dabbles in coaching, but also comes more for the community and the development, maybe?
I mean, yeah, it's just awesome. I don't like it's like a I mean like a pep rally, like a ongoing pep rally, but it's so inspiring and I don't know. Also, it's just so fun to like to see everybody's arms and legs and not just their faces on these squares. It's really, I mean, it's just like a really great time.
And on another fun fact, well, two things. Number one, Kelly, submitted her Beachbody Challenge results. So
Yeah, I'll probably be up on the stage.
that would be amazing. I think you might.
I don't think so.
I do.
Let's put it in the universe.
Yes. And then number two, Brendan Burchard, I know Allison likes him too. He spoke at two of them and so incredible. And there's always good speakers and stuff. So anyway, it is in San Antonio. I think it's June 20 something. Lauren, you probably really know the dates because June
22nd through the 25th. Well, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Yeah.
Awesome.
And PS, anybody who is planning, thinking about coming down early, I believe the Spartan Nation event is being planned for that Wednesday before. So you may consider looking at plane tickets to come down on Wednesday if you want to be part of that. I know absolutely no other information as far as afternoon, evening, if it's even happening. I have zero information. I just know the last time we talked about it, it was being planned for Wednesday. So.
Awesome. Anyone else want to celebrate anything?
I have a fun, cute story. Today, my home laptop would not let me log in to Beachbody at home at all. And I couldn't get into coach office. I couldn't get into anything. So I brought my laptop to school for the tech guy. And he's like, well, what are you having troubles with? And so I had to have him try to log in for me on the Beachbody. And as he's trying to figure out why my computer keeps rejecting that, when I can get on at school, I can get on another Chrome, I can get on Jim's, he's like, starts asking me all these questions about it. And then I said, well, can you just check to make sure I can get into my coach office? And he looks at me and he's like, you're a coach? And I was like, well, yeah. He goes, well, what does that mean? And so then I started talking to him. He's like, I think I'm gonna have to take this home to my wife tonight. I think I'm gonna have to talk to her because it's day 9 and we've been working out every day for 9 days and I have everything at home. He's like, this might be something that we could really do. And he's like, I'm 31 and I'm like, blah, blah, all this stuff. But it was so funny that he just kept like, so what do you do? And just, if I wouldn't have brought my laptop to school to have him look at it, I don't think that would have ever been a conversation that I would have had with him. So it was just kind of cute how it all panned out.
Actually, that reminds me, when I had my one-on-one session last week with my coach, I was talking about how we start with wins every week. And so some really cool doors have been opening and I've been meeting the coolest people. And he was like, do you ever realize that you're the one opening those doors? And I was like, no. Yes. So Barb, that was meant that your computer couldn't cooperate because you know what I mean? So good job for opening doors. And also you bring that energy to your school every day that people want a piece of. So good job. Well, this is fun hearing all this good news.
You should, Barb, you should wear to school tomorrow. You should wear like a leotard and stretch pants and like a headband.
Yeah, like
Just-
the 80s,
just
like
a
Richard
coach.
Simmons. Hey, he's
Yes.
a coach. Yeah.
Just to coach, being a coach.
And then my first graders would be like, you look so good today, Mrs. Geibel.
That's so funny. Come on, do it, Barb.
Maybe
Hello?
next exercise day.
All right. Anyone else want to share anything? Hi, Amanda. Maybe she's driving. Okay. Let's roll, Sarah.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah and I'm on Rebecca's team in Indianapolis. Woo. And yes, and Lauren is my tall blonde twin down there. So, and her PC that she was talking about is also tall and blonde. So we're starting a little tall blonde empire here in Indiana. I'm just kidding. And I am a teacher. I teach 6th grade, so a different vibe than Barb, but it is still exhausting. And usually on these nights, I'm tired and just want to lay on the couch. But I'm here because we were talking a little bit last week. I think it was Jill mentioned something and it triggered this like Lazy Genius book. And so I was like, hey, Rebecca, if you ever want me to like talk about it, I can. She goes, how about tomorrow? And I was like, okay, here we go. So we're just gonna jump right in. So the author or the woman is Kendra Adachi, and she has the Lazy Genius podcast, and she's the Lazy Genius on Instagram, and she wrote the book, The Lazy Genius Way. And actually, I have no idea if she has any credentials in anything besides just being like a cool person, honestly. Like she's a mom and all that. So being teacher, mom, all the things, I get overwhelmed easily. So I have found some of these ideas to be helpful. And so hopefully they're helpful to you. So there's 13 like principles that she has. So I'm not going to go into in depth on all of them, but just to give you kind of an idea. And then if you want to check out the podcast or her book or whatever. Okay. So the whole idea is be genius about the things that matter to you and be lazy about the things that don't. And I think a lot of times we try to be a genius at everything, right? Oh, it's the new year. I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat right. And like you try to do all the things amazing. Or on the flip side, we just are just lazy about everything, right? Oh, I don't care. I'm not doing that. I don't care. And so it's like that healthy balance of figuring out what matters to you and then kind of becoming a genius about that stuff and then kind of letting the other stuff go. So the first one is my favorite one, and it's decide once. Decide once. So basically, you kind of, to help with this decision fatigue and some of this stuff you've probably read in other books too. So, you know, it's kind of a good little refresher. But like, for instance, every Friday, I wear the same thing. I wear the same Westfield shirt. I wear the same jeans. I wear the same tennis shoes. Decide once. I give my mother the same Mother's Day present every year. We buy her a photo calendar. Decide once. And and feel free if you think of stuff, like you can put them in the chat or whatever. But Taco Tuesday is a deciding once, right? Like if your family has those themed, you know, for each dinner, then that's just one less thing to think about. I was thinking too, like some of you, if your spouse has an account, you might always order your Shakeology on your account and everything else on your spouse account. And you decided that, and then you don't even have to think about it. So think of something that stresses you out, and then maybe you make a fixed decision around it, and it kind of helps you with that. So, oh yeah, what's your like go-to for potlucks, right? Yeah, exactly. Or like they mentioned to, like when you have people come to your house, maybe you have a go-to meal that you always make, or so yeah. So that's number one, side ones. And everyone wants your cowboy caviar, Jill. Okay, number two is start small. This author, Kendra, she wanted to get into yoga. And so she just decided she was going to do one downward dog a day. And she's like, it's ridiculous. I'm literally doing one downward dog every single day. But then it turned into like 30 seconds of yoga a day, you know, and then it turned into a daily habit. So we always talk about that too, just starting small. Okay. Number three is my other favorite one. Ask the magic question. And the magic question is, what can I do now to make life easier later? And Jill is all here for this. Yeah. What can I do now, Lauren too, to make life easier later? And so you tend to the necessary before it becomes urgent. You tend to the necessary before it becomes urgent. So that was where the putting the pot of water out, even though you're not going to make dinner till, you know, what can you do? Like for those of you that have small children, what can you do during nap time to make your life easier, right? Whether that's prepping something for dinner, what could you do tonight, make your life easier tomorrow, or even what can you do on the weekend to make your life easier?
I'll give an example. So like on weekends when we have swim meets where we're gone all day, I'm like, okay, let's lay out all the sandwich stuff the night before that doesn't, you know, get it all grouped together in the fridge, get the plastic baggies out, get the cooler out, have the ice packs ready. Like I'm ready to go. My family, no, the morning of, they're scrambling. They're like, well, we don't have this. We don't have this. I'm like, if you would have set it all out the night before, you wouldn't be scrambling. So it's like, this has always been me. This is such a weird trait, I think, but not everybody is like that. So it's a really good tip because it's so helpful.
Well, you can tell Chris that I shared that this was such a good so.
Thanks.
Or even just like work, right? Like maybe you have a deadline, but it's not for a few more weeks or something. You know, what could you do now to make it easier later? Oh, and this is a cute little tip. So for those of you with school age kids, her kids come home from school and they're just like so hungry. So what she does, she calls it a snack platter. She just puts like a big plate out. I mean, it's like charcuterie, basically, probably. She just puts a big plate out of snacks. So before she goes to get them from pickup, she has it out. So they get in the door, they eat their snacks. That was a cute idea. But, or like before you go on vacation, maybe you tidy up your house before you go on. So when you come home, house is already tidy. There was a mom, my daughter plays hockey. She was doing her grocery pickup before our last hockey game. I was like, that is genius. So when we got back home, you know, she could pick up her groceries. Okay, so what can you do now to make life easier later? Yeah, hashtag goals, right? Megan's like, start small. Go back to start small. Number 4, live in the season. We've heard that, live in the season. whatever season you're in, you know, with little babies or crazy work season or whatever season of the year it is. And just keeping, you know, just do the next right thing. There's actually another book called Do the Next Right Thing. And I find myself saying that a lot. Like if I get frazzled, I'm like, what's the next right thing, right? I don't need to do everything right now. What is literally the next right thing I can do? Okay. Number 5, build the right routines. We play into that, right? Whether it's morning routine, an evening routine, how you start your work routine, maybe how you start your Beachbody work routine, and just beginning with what matters to you, right? Like this morning routine here, I've tried meditating, you know, like you don't have to do what works for everybody else. What matters to you? What matters to you about your morning? How do you want to feel in the morning? What matters to you about your evening? So kind of, she's all about starting with, you know, what matters to you, right? We don't have to be a genius about a morning routine and do everything that everyone's ever said is productive, right? Just pick what works for you. Oh yes, bedtime routine is for adults and children, right? Okay, number 6, set house rules. Kind of a newer idea, set house rules. So like she was giving an example of, you know, as a mom, obviously there's times where we get frustrated, we get angry, and we start to go into this like protective mode as opposed to connection. Or maybe you just get mad at your spouse too. I don't know, you know, like, and so thinking about, is there a way to stop the first domino from falling? So for instance, her kids come home from school, they were throwing their stuff on the ground. So that means they weren't getting their lunch boxes out, they weren't getting their homework out. It was just a mess. And obviously she would get frustrated. So she created the house rule, school stuff goes on the counter. And she had to be like, you know, they came in the door, school stuff on the counter, school stuff on the counter, but that became a house rule. So then the stuff wasn't on the floor. And then she was, you know, then she was preventing herself from the frustration, getting angry. I know like Karen Mavis said, no phones at dinner, right? You know, if you have this house rule, no phones at dinner. We kind of, at our house, the kids were kind of eating all over the house. So it's kind of eat at the table. You have to eat at the table, snacks. Here's another interesting rule. She would finish a book she was reading and then would lose momentum and wouldn't start another book. So she has a rule, start a new book within 24 hours of finishing the last one. And I was thinking too, maybe for your workout program, start a new workout program within a week or within 2 days of finishing your last one. So the rules can be, you know, literally house rules or just kind of for you, like, oh, I always have a rule that I do this. Right, guys. Okay, rule number 7, put everything in its place. So that's kind of more of a clutter, more of a stuff thing, put everything in its place. And there's more on that, but I won't go into too big a detail there. Number 8, let people in. Let people in, whether that's letting people literally into your house, into your everyday life, connecting with people, right? But do without apology, right? We always have people over to our house and you're apologizing for all the messes, and just let people in. And don't overthink connection. Just invite somebody over. And maybe that applies to us too. Don't overthink those connections. Just talk to people, right? Don't overthink it. Just connect. Okay. Number 9 is a good one. Batch. I think it's just batch it. I'm sure some people batch you're cooking for your meal prep, you know, if you're making some chicken, you make a bunch of chicken or a bunch of rice. I have a note on my phone of there's like a couple of bills I have to pay at the beginning of the month. So I have a note on my phone of like everything I want to do at the end of the month, a couple bills. I always check like my Beachbody subscriptions to make sure, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I've got a couple going that I want to delay. I upload all my pictures from that month. So just kind of batching tasks together. Oh, thank you, Megan. Oh, nice. I was thinking too, if you are creating posts for your challenge group, you could batch them, right? Like, I think Rebecca's good about making like a week's worth. I was always terrible at that. I would do like day by day, but you know, you could batch your reels when you've, you know, got some time, maybe change your shirt in between if you want. But if you notice, a lot of people don't change their shirts. I'm like, you totally did these reels on the same day. But just this idea of, you know, if you're in that mindset, if, you know, if I'm running on my computer, I might as well pay all the bills, not just one at a time, right? So just kind of batch it. Yeah. Social media contact, taking photos, filming. Yeah. So you could do all that kind of batching. Okay. Number 10 is essentialize. Kind of like minimalism a little bit, but it's essentialism. And I think there's a book called Essentialism. I'm pretty sure I read it actually. I'm kind of into minimalism too a little bit. And I guess it's different. Like you don't need to remove everything from your life. Like it's not minimalism. Like it's more of remove everything that distracts you from what matters and leave only what's essential. So again, thinking about what really matters to you, what really matters in your house, you know, what really matters, what you have, and then removing whatever's in the way and just keep all the essentials. Okay. Are you all gonna like change your life? Okay, we got a couple more. Number 11 is go in the right order. Go in the right order. So again, remember what matters, calm the crazy, and trust yourself. So the example was if you're cleaning the house, okay? So like most people think, okay, if I'm cleaning the house, I need to start with the dirtiest room, right? Oh, last week I didn't get to whatever room, I should start there. But what she was saying was, what room, if I cleaned it up, would make the house feel less crazy? And so kind of like calming that crazy, right? Like if toys all over the living room is driving you, start there, right? And that way too, then you're kind of, okay, calming, okay, my living room's in order. If I have time, I can do some more, or maybe your kitchen, right? You know, if your kitchen's in order, and even like what task would make that room less crazy, right? So maybe cleaning the whole kitchen's overwhelming, but if you could get the sink empty, then, you know, you're in a good place. So kind of go in the right order of what's important to you, and then how can you kind of calm that crazy. Okay, number 12 is schedule rest, which we know is important. And not just literal rest, but also like, I'm trying to find, you know, things that bring you joy, right? Things that are important to, you know, like things that make you feel alive, scheduling that in, whether you try to schedule some sort of rest or something for yourself each day, each week, each month, and so on. I love rest too. I know. And the last one, number 13, is be kind to yourself. Value who you are now, reflect on who you're becoming, and celebrate. So those are her principles. It's funny, Jill, I probably follow the minimal mom because I follow a lot of minimal people. I have to look. Jill, are we gonna become best friends? I think we became best friends. I don't know.
we need to, Sarah. We need to.
Okay,
we
cool.
need to connect. Yes.
Are we gonna like hang out in San Antonio? Okay, let's become best friends.
Yes, if I can go there. Yes.
Here, Megan, I will just slowly get your team to San Antonio. And so the last thing would be, if you want to, make a list, 2 columns, and just thinking about the genius column, list those areas of your life that make you happy, that make you feel like yourself. What do you want to be a genius about? And then the lazy column, that could be anything that saps you dry, you're consistently put off. And that's okay to be lazy about. Like, I don't like baking. And so I didn't feel the need. I don't. So, okay. And so I didn't feel the need over Christmas to bake, I don't need to bake cookies, Christmas cookies, just because everybody else does, right? I did other activities for the holidays. And so I can be lazy about baking. My mom bought some cut, where you cut them up, and we did that, right? And so, decide what do you want to be a genius about, what matters to you. And it's okay to be lazy in other things, because you can be a lazy genius. So there you have it.
I love those. Thank you. And I also think that there are areas of life where they don't bring you joy and they suck you dry, and you want to be lazy at them, but like you can't be lazy at them. And that space is where you need to start looking at like outsourcing. Where can you outsource? Where can you ask for help? Where can you trade services with somebody, with the neighbor down the street or something like that? When you have those areas that you're like, they don't bring me joy. I hate them. I always procrastinate them. They make my life so much worse. Like, I cannot bring myself to do it, but I cannot stand that it's there, like cleaning the house or whatever. And I've started doing virtual assistant work for a lot of people, a lot of different areas, mostly coaches. And those things in their business, like, I can't, like, that is not my zone of genius. Like the organization, behind the scenes stuff, the reports, all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, that's the kind of things that you can outsource. Those are the kind of places that you can, there's gaps in there. There are people out there. There are house cleaners out there. There are virtual assistants of all different kinds. There are house managers. And I remember when, like, I like to have a clean house, but I don't like the time that it takes to clean the house. I like the act of cleaning when my kids aren't in the way, but I don't like the actual time that it's taking away. And also like the sound of the Barbie shoes dumping out right after I clean the Barbie room. And I was like, gosh, but I don't want to spend the money, or I don't have the money. I can't afford to do the house cleaner. And I was like, well, actually, maybe I can. And also, what if my Beachbody coach money paid for that? And so finding these little like ways to almost gamify your income in different ways. Like, how can you make that money? Because then that will make your life so much easier that you don't have to worry about that anymore. And you can be this lazy genius, and you get to go use your zone of genius somewhere else, that however many hours it would take you to clean your house, you get to go do your own zone of genius in that time period. So when you're making your columns, if you find there's areas that you're like frustrated in between, what are some different ways you can brainstorm to outsource or ask for help? Or maybe it's having conversations with your spouse even about ways that they can help you more in these different areas that take away from your zone of genius. So thank you so much for sharing these, Sarah. These were so good. And another thing that I thought of when Lauren was talking, and Lauren, it was, the one about what can I do now to make my life easier? And you're like, oh gosh, that's always been me. A lady legit wrote a book about that, has an entire chapter in a book about something that is who you are. Every one of us are sitting here thinking, I have no value to add. I have nothing to share. I have nothing. She legit wrote a book, has a massive following on the things that you're sitting there going, well, that's just me. Everyone knows that. You think in your head, everyone does that because you do that. And that's who you are. Even though you live with people who don't do it. You're like, oh, that's so silly. It's like when, I think it was at Summit, when someone was talking about share the things that are like, duh to you. Like, eating carrots and peanut butter. Like that's like, doesn't everybody do that to me? And I cannot tell you how many people are like, I've never done that before. I've legit never heard of that in my life. And so those things, Erin, I see you. I see you. I see you. Those things that you think make you unique, or have a conversation with a friend, or something you were thinking on here. If there is something that Sarah shared that you're like, wait a minute, everybody doesn't do that. Hello, go share that on social media. Go talk about it. Go share your tips and strategies for it, because there's clearly people who don't understand how that works and are going to feel like that's the first time they ever heard that in their life. So anytime you're like, I have nothing to share, I have no value to add. Yes, you do. I promise you do. And there are people out there writing books and making millions of dollars off of things that you think you're sitting on saying, I have nothing to share.
Also, too, don't you think that you'll hit people who can identify and feel seen and are affected in that way too?
I was just going to say that, Kelly, if nothing else, if Lauren shares about how she sets out her cooler, she's going to get 14 people that are like, I do that too,
That's
you know,
right.
and people
But
can
nobody's
relate.
putting carrots and peanut butter in their damn cooler. Let's get that straight right now.
you.
Wait a minute.
No way. I'm not opposed to trying it. I've just never heard of
You
that
do celery.
combination. Yeah.
No, it is carrots. Like it is legit carrots.
So,
I mean, of course I do celery too, but it's carrots.
Okay.
Wait, does your family eat the carrot peanut butter combo too?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all do. Okay.
I guess I should try it. But speaking of carrots, so I like, like real regular carrots, right? Not baby carrots.
Yes.
But I hate peeling them. I hate washing them. I hate the whole process. I've complained about it on social media. I have a whole thing about carrots. My daughter wanted to do that. She's like, I'll do that. And she loves it. She puts her little music
Yay.
on. She made a time-lapse video. She peeled the carrots. And I'm like, here we go. Guys, I made the dream. I have someone who peels my carrots for me. So
I actually, when you were talking about outsourcing, Rebecca, I was thinking, in your own house, that's called delegating, right? Like, which I feel like is, there's probably an opportunity for all of us to delegate better, like ask other people we live with to do things. And like that, the carrot thing is the perfect example, right?
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. All right.
And yes, part of that is having to give up control, that it doesn't get done exactly like you would want it or your way. But at the end of the day, go back to what Sarah said. What are you going to be a genius about, and what are you going to be lazy about?
Very
And
true.
P.S., how are your children ever going to learn to do it perfectly like you do it if you don't give them a chance to try it?
That's what I told my husband tonight. I was like, I would love it if you just, could unload the dishwasher. I'll load it. But if you could, I just don't like putting dishes away. So he did it, and he did the dishes, and the dishwasher's running while I'm there. I'm like, all I had to do was prompt the one thing, and he just followed through with the rest of it. I was like, oh,
Domino.
bless you. Bless you.
Domino.
Yeah. So delegating. Yes, Kelly. Absolutely. I'm like, why am I the only one that does this?
Because the other people don't have to do it, because you always step in and do it before they do it. I mean,
Always.
I
But
know.
I am
Kayla left
home
an
all day,
entire
every day.
sink- Kayla left an entire sink of dishes, like all day long. Like the dishwasher was empty. I emptied it before I left, and there's an entire sink of dirty dishes sitting in the sink. I'm like, do you when you walk past the kitchen, do you not see that? Or you just it's the dishwasher's right there.
It doesn't
put them
bother
in
other
there.
people like it bothers us. Yeah.
I don't
We
get
have
it. I
to
don't get
set
it.
a house rule. We set a house rule, or you decide once, or maybe you got to use one of
Yeah.
these principles here.
It's the one where if you go in the right order, the number 11, it's like, okay, if you're going to clean a room, the kitchen probably is the one for me. Once it's clean, I feel better. Yeah. Awesome share tonight. Thanks, Sarah.
Yes, thank you.
Way to pull it together in 24 hours. That's what teachers do, right?
Right. I told my husband, I was like, I'm speaking on the call tonight. He goes, oh, good luck. So, but it was good though, because then later he's like, are you ready for that? I was like, oh, I should probably go get ready for that. So,
Oh yeah, we're easy.
That was nice.
oh yeah. I like you guys, so it's all good.
All right. Barb, I feel your fingers are typing away.
Oh, Jill, I like your rule. That's a good house rule.
Hmm.
Yeah. Shouldn't have to do
Ooh.
both.
My teenagers are on board, my husband's on board. It just happens because I am always the one coming up with the meal, putting it together, making it happen.
Yep.
So
Those of you with teenagers, I saw my friend is doing that her kids cook on Sundays. So the
Ooh.
teenagers are in charge of cooking on Sundays now.
hmm,
Good
I
to
can
know.
get around that. Yeah, my son loves to cook. My 14-year-old son, he grills and cooks and all sorts. He'll chop
Wow,
stuff for
awesome.
me. So yeah,
Good job. My
Love it.
brain is swirling with ideas right now.
I know.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go try to sneak a dinner really quick.
All right.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everyone. Thank you,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Thank you. Good job.
Thanks.